This is a review for the Shark CarpetXpert with StainStriker, model number EX201. The EX201 sealed suction at the base was measured at 76 inches of water lift. It was measured at 72 inches at the hose. These are both above average results. The EX201's unsealed suction at the nozzle was measured at 3.48 kPa. This is the second best result among the 16 carpet cleaners we've tested so far. Only the Bissell Big Green machine has more measured suction at the nozzle. The EX201 uses a single brush roll to agitate and wash carpet, and we measured its cleaning path to be 10 inches wide. In our upright stain test, I first push and pull the EX201 a few times quickly in place to prime its system with soap and water. I then push forward over the stains. This carpet cleaner automatically dispenses soap and water on the forward push and maximizes extraction on the backward pull. After this next back and forth pass, I pause briefly to refill the EX201's clean water tank and empty its dirty water tank. I continue on through several more back and forth passes. At this point, you can see decent progress on the chocolate ice cream stain. There's darker staining left over the tomato sauce and peanut butter stain after 4 back and forth passes. After another brief pause, I continue on through a 5th back and forth pass. The chocolate ice cream stain is almost clean after 6 passes, though we're only going to call this stain completely clean after 7 back and forth passes. This is about an average result for this test. Through these last few passes, we continue to see light staining left over the central part of the tomato sauce and peanut butter stain. The tomato sauce result is fairly average. The peanut butter result is worse than average. Many competitors were able to get the stain completely clean in 10 or less passes, while the EX201 leaves some streaks behind, as you can see here. Moving on to the bottom lane, let's take a look first at this urine stain on the right. The EX201 almost completely cleans a stain in only 1 back and forth pass. We are going to call the stain completely clean after 2 back and forth passes. Rewinding time a bit to the start of testing in the bottom lane, we can see that the grape juice stain on the far left also cleans up very quickly. It's almost clean after 2 passes, and we're going to call the stain completely clean after 3 back and forth passes. The caramel syrup stain is almost clean after 4 passes, and we're going to call it completely clean after 5 back and forth passes. At this point, there's still quite a bit of chocolate syrup staining left over, and this is a stubborn one. It remains after 6 passes, there's still some staining left after 7 passes, and we're only going to call it mostly clean after 8 back and forth passes. Overall, the EX201's performance was worse than average in this test. Adding up the total number of back and forth passes it took to clean each stain and accounting for the lightness of the remaining tomato sauce and peanut butter stain, it gets a total score of 49. Now, it's important to note that we use the same standard mixture of soap and water for all of the carpet cleaners we test, and we use this same mix for the Shark. But because of its surprisingly poor performance in our standard test, we also wanted to test it using the soap it comes with at the concentration level recommended by the manufacturer. That's what I'm testing with in this middle lane. And using the Shark soap, the EX201 performs very similarly to the way it did with the standard mix. It does appear to clean a few stains slightly quicker, but it's a very small difference in performance, if any, and it still leaves behind tomato sauce and peanut butter staining even after 10 back and forth passes. The takeaway here is that this carpet cleaner just doesn't perform very well in our upright stain test, regardless of whether we use the standard mix we use for all testing or the recommended Shark cleaning solution. So why didn't it perform well, especially considering it has very high tested suction at the nozzle? Well, we think it's most likely because it doesn't use a lot of water when it cleans. Before our original stain test, we measured the initial volume of water and soap we added to its clean tank, and the remaining volume after the first 2 passes. We can use this data and the total area the carpet cleaner covered during those 2 passes to calculate its water use per square foot of coverage. And what we found is that the EX201 does use less water than average to clean, which at least partly explains its lackluster performance in our stain test. Most competitors that performed well in this test used a lot more water to clean. One potential benefit of low water use is that carpet cleaners that don't use a lot of water to clean usually leave carpet drier after cleaning. So we measured how dry the EX201 left the carpet after 10 back and forth passes in the bottom lane. What we found is that it only left the carpet at an average level of dryness. We then ran the EX201 on dry only mode for 3 additional back and forth passes. We then measured again, and here the measurement is slightly drier than average. Another potential benefit of low water use is that the carpet cleaner could potentially cover a very large area before you need to refill its clean water tank. But the EX201 has a very small clean tank, so you don't really get a lot of coverage with this cleaner before you need to refill this tank. Based on how quickly the EX201's dirty water tank filled up during testing, we can also estimate its area of coverage per dirty tank. And again, its area of coverage per tank is low because its dirty water tank has very low capacity. The tank itself isn't that small, but the cleaner cuts off suction as soon as water rises above this fill line, and this fill line is very low in the tank. When it comes to general ease of use, the EX201's dirty water tank is very easy to install and remove. Its clean tank is also very easy to install and remove. Note that this front tank, the Oxy multiplier tank, is only used for spot cleaning. I'll talk more about this tank later in the review. Back to the clean tank, this tank is also very easy to fill. It's notably quite short, so you can easily fit it even under a bathroom faucet, for example. Many competitors have much taller clean tanks that you can only fill directly using a kitchen or laundry room faucet or a hose. The EX201's dirty water tank comes apart very easily for cleaning, though it does have more parts than average to clean. To properly clean the top part of the tank, you have to remove this gray plastic filter and this black foam filter, and also wash both of these filters. Many competitors also have at least one filter, but few have two filters to clean like the Shark. On the positive side of things, this bottom compartment opens up on the EX201, and its brush roll is also very easy to remove. Because of this design, we didn't have any trouble cleaning the brush roll or the compartment that surrounds it. On many competitors, it's much more difficult to clean this bottom compartment because it doesn't open up, and because their brush rolls can't be removed nearly as easily. Finally, we also tested the Shark's spot cleaning performance. The EX201 comes with what we measure to be a 6-foot long hose, which is slightly shorter than average. On the plus side, the hose actually stores on the cleaner itself, so it's very easy to transition from cleaning in upright mode to spot cleaning. With most competitors, you store the hose separately, not on the cleaner itself. The EX201 also comes with more tools than average. It comes with a hose cleaning tool, a dedicated pet tool, an integrated crevice tool, and a 3.5-inch reversible bristle tool. The hose cleaning tool is interesting. You fit it along with all of the other tools over the integrated crevice tool. With this tool attached, the soap and water spray immediately gets pulled back into the cleaner, which effectively washes the hose. I used the 3.5-inch reversible bristle tool for our spot cleaning test. The rubber side is intended for softer fabrics. I used this other side for our spot cleaning test. I start the test spraying the tomato sauce stain with a standard mix of soap and water. I then scrub the stain for about 15 seconds before I angle the tool forward to maximize extraction for 3 back and forth passes. This comprises one complete cleaning cycle. I repeat this cycle of spraying, scrubbing, and extracting several more times. This is the end of the second cycle, and we jump ahead now to the end of the 5th cycle. As you can see, there's only some very light staining left over after 5 cycles. Now, most competitors also left a light stain, but the EX201 definitely left an even lighter stain than average after 5 cycles. Next up is the peanut butter stain. I follow the usual process of spraying, scrubbing, and extracting to complete the first cleaning cycle. And this time we jump ahead to the end of the 4th cleaning cycle. As you can see, the stain is completely clean after 4 cycles, which is also a better than average result. Finally, we have the chocolate ice cream stain. Again, I follow the usual protocol to complete the first cleaning cycle. And we jump ahead again to the end of the 5th cycle this time. In this case, it's hard to see, but there is still some very light staining left over after 5 cycles. Still, this is a better than average result. Most competitors left a significantly darker stain after 5 cycles. Overall, the EX201 was the best performer in this test among the 16 carpet cleaners we've tested so far. Note that we filled the clean water tank and the Oxy multiplier tank with our standard mix of soap and water for this test. We did test the EX301 with this standard mix and with Shark solution in both tanks, and we basically got the same results for each test. So we would expect the same to be true for the EX201. Summarizing what we like and dislike about the EX201, this carpet cleaner has excellent suction at the nozzle. It cleaned up the chocolate ice cream stain faster than average in our upright stain test, and was an above average performer cleaning up all of the stains in our spot cleaning stain test. We also really like the fact that it stores its hose on itself, so you can easily transition from using it as an upright carpet cleaner to using it as a spot cleaner. We also like that this bottom compartment opens up and that the brush roll removes easily, so that you can clean the compartment and the brush roll very easily. On the negative side of things, the EX201 was a below average performer cleaning most stains in our upright stain test, except for the chocolate ice cream stain, of course. Most other carpet cleaners we tested also left behind some tomato sauce staining after 10 passes, but the stain left behind by the EX201 was darker than average. It also left behind some peanut butter staining after 10 passes, while many competitors were able to completely clean the stain in under 7 passes. Another negative for the EX201 is tank capacity. Both its clean and dirty water tanks have well below average capacity, and so you have to refill and empty these tanks more frequently than you do on competitors, despite the fact that the EX201 doesn't use a lot of water to clean. When it comes to general recommendations, the EX201 really isn't a very good upright carpet cleaner, at least not according to our testing. It doesn't clean stains as well, it doesn't leave carpet as dry, and it doesn't get nearly as much coverage before you need to refill or empty its water tanks as top-rated models we recommend. The EX201 is a decent option if you plan on using it in spot cleaning mode just as much as or even more frequently than you would want to use it in upright mode. Again, it comes with a number of tools, its hose stores on the carpet cleaner itself, and it was an excellent performer in our spot cleaning test. So if this functionality is really important to you, the EX201 is certainly not a bad option. However, if you're looking primarily for an upright carpet cleaner, not a spot cleaner, there are much better options out there. See the description of this video for a link to check the EX201's current pricing and for a link to the latest updated list of all of the carpet cleaners we do recommend, and thank you for watching.